Hello, welcome back. We're going to play another modern competitive league with this blue, white, red control deck. This is modern magic for the modern man. We're going to try to live the 5-0 dream. This hand requires quite a bit of dreaming. We're on the draw though. I don't hate it. We have a lot of interaction. That is that is what I do like. We are on the draw. We can colonnade in. If we don't get a land, we can Serum Vision some. I think I'm okay with this. Look. It's not an easy keep by any means. Ooh, 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 ooh. This is actually a hand that lines up so well against excuse me, against an Affinity opponent. Yeah. Scalding Tarn rocks. I should have started off Colonnade. I got a little too excited. Alright. I'm going to go ahead and fetch a Steam Vents and use the Serum Visions. Yes, yes, please. Try to. Oh my goodness, Electrolyze? Yes, please. I want to keep drawing these lands. That's good. Everything is good so far. So how you beat this Affinity deck, it's very fast. But it's almost like that Kuldotha red deck we played against last time. Once you eliminate all of their threats, you're kind of free to go. So here on turn 2, we're taking a very minimal 1 damage. Yeah, I think I can go ahead and tap in the Celestial Colonnade. I'm going to go ahead and bolt the Overseer. So I've played Affinity for a long time, and I've always wanted to get my Overseers altered with a Lightning Bolt striking them. They're just fantastic targets for the Lightning Bolt. Alright. So here we are again. We're poised to take 2 damage. Not that much. Midnight for our opponent. And Arcbound Ravager. Arcbound Ravager creates a little bit of an issue, but shouldn't be that much of a problem. Yep. So I'll be taking 2 here, going down to 14. Electrolyze. Alright. So this is what I'm going to do here. My opponent's out of cards, so we're right where we want to be. I'm going to play the Glacial Fortress. And I'm going to path the Arcbound Ravager. So my opponent will, no doubt move the counter somewhere. And then I will bolt I will bolt their counter's target. So so this Affinity matchup is for this Jeskai deck. It's actually so good we don't even run Stony Silence in the sideboard. All right, so they sacrifice Arcbound Ravager to itself. So, and that's another reason why we path the Ravagers, because they only get their value if Ravager goes to the graveyard, which it's doing right now. And then I'm going to Lightning Helix his target. So now my opponent's top decking, and now we're facing down 1 point of damage. So we're in pretty good shape overall. Now my opponent can definitely pull it out if they play Edge Champion and equip it with any number of things that beat me. Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and shock this in. Again, what we're fearing is an Edge Champion. That's something that will have to be dealt with Cryptic Command. Yeah, I think we can go ahead and Cryptic this also. Well, I say that, right? But I don't think so. Interesting. Yeah, I'm going to give it to my opponent. We can bolt it at the end of their turn. And if they sack out to give it 4 counters, we can bounce it with Cryptic. Excuse me. Sorry about that. I got a little frog in my throat. I doubt they sack out, though. They might sack the Springleaf Drum, but I'm pretty sure they'll just move the counters. Yeah, they're going to move it to an Ornithopter, which is fine. Another land. So we can start drawing some cards off of these electrolyzes. Excuse me. Taking 2 here. Interesting, my opponent attacked with this one. Gonna get another Steam Vents. Oop, I forgot I need a blue mana. I drew Think Twice. And another Cryptic. Alright. I'm going to pass the turn. Yeah, we're going to counter Cranial Plating. Cranial Plating does present a pretty solid problem for us here. Serum Visions is good. Opponent drew an Ink Moth Nexus. An excellent electrolyzed target. Go ahead and fetch out an island. Interesting. Both of these are pretty good. I don't think I need a negate anymore, but a Logic Knot would be kind of nice to have. And yeah, I think we just passed the turn now. Again, we still have Cryptic in case my opponent produces something that's frightening. For the time being, we're going to take our beats one hit at a time. Now we're going to draw the Logic Knot. And we're going to go ahead and use the other half of it. One card my opponent could be holding on to is a Galvanic Blast, which we're going to see right now. Puts us down to 3. Opponent could have another one. That could be bad. Ooh, secure the wastes. Okay, okay. Oh, pause. Okay. Alright, we're going to pass the turn here. Cranial plating. Let's go ahead and logic knot that. Let's go ahead and fetch so that there's another land in the graveyard. We want a logic knot for 3 here. We're going down to 1 life. Again, our life total is a resource. We need to treat it as such. Let's see, was I on to play this game? Nope, my opponent was. So stealing this game from my opponent would be pretty big. So yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, the only thing I'm worried about here is if I Cryptic Command and my opponent has a Galvanic Blast as the last card in their hand, there's not a lot I can do. Okay, I drew a Supreme Verdict. Opponent replays the Ornithopter. And the Mox Opal. And the last card of my opponent's hand was an Edge Champion. Fortunately for us, Edge Champion is not safe from Supreme Verdict. Alright, I drew a Mana Leak. That is something we can work with. That enters the battlefield tapped. Supreme Verdict coming in hot to clean up the board. Cranial plating. I will go ahead and I think I let that resolve. I don't think I have an issue with cranial plating. Yeah, again, I'm just trying to avoid Galvanic Blast. Interesting, my opponent would activate that now. I will electrolyze it. Flooded Strand, unfortunately, is dead. Ghost Quarter plays, for sure. And hopefully my opponent does nothing and I can unleash a pretty big Secure the Wastes. Another Inkmoth Nexus. So, looks like coast is clear for this. Secure the Waste for 9. Should get the job done. And a negate's a good follow-up draw. Opponent drew a land. I don't think that's lethal. And I have an active Ghost Quarter. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I just let this ride. 6 infect damage. I am curious to see if my opponent's playing another basic. Oh, and they don't care to show me. Alrighty, so we stole the game 1 from Affinity. That, of course, feels great. That's exactly what we want to do. That is the most important game against this Affinity deck is game 1. So far so good. So far so good. Let's see. Timely reinforcements, no. It looks to me like, is it Staticasters the only thing I really want? Which is fine. Fine, of course. What to cut, what to cut. Mana Leak, I think, is universally good here. Cryptic handles some things. Torrential Gearhulk can be important. This is actually a hard choice here. I want all of these. I think Mana Leak is probably the weakest card, even though it works just fine. Maybe even a negate. Yeah, towards the end of that game, I would have much rather had a negate than a Mana Leak. I think I can do it this way. We can give it a shot. Alrighty. We have a fair bit of interaction. The big thing we have is a Supreme Verdict. I think we can run with this. Hopefully by turn 4 they'll have played their hand out and we can Supreme Verdict for the win. My opponent producing 3 artifacts here to activate Metalcraft. Meaning they can play 2-drop on turn 1. Their choice is Arcbound Ravager. Good choice, good choice. Cranial Plating the follow-up. Looks like my opponent's doing exactly what they want to be doing. They're powering out their 2-drops and filling up the board. So 5 damage on turn 2 is pretty solid. Obviously, I can solve this problem with any number of lightning bolts. Lightning Helix Electrolyzed. And these 2 cards don't exactly work together. Here, the Ornithopter will very likely eat a Path to Exile, depending on what my opponent shows. They are down to 3 cards. Creating another artifact to buff up Cranial Plating even further. You got anything else? Anything at all? Another Ornithopter's on the stack. I'll let it resolve. Yeah, I'm not interested in taking 8 damage here. Allow my opponent to go to combat. Yeah, before blocks, we will path. I wonder if my opponent will allow it. It depends on whether or not they need the mountain. Okay, so they did let it get exiled. Next turn we'll have Snap Path. Seems pretty good. Pretty good. We are not in a hurry. Sorry. I just can't help myself sometimes. Right. Okay, we get a mountain tapped. Ooh, we're still in combat here. Maybe we're going to move the cranial plating. That sounds like a good play, actually. So I'm still going to take 7. One less than 8, but still. It's good to keep our options open, I always say. Alright. Dropping in an island. Three mana for a Giriper Aether Grid. That's kind of... That's a good way to win against a control deck. Interesting. Let's see if my opponent does not attack with the Ornithopter. Okie dokie. We'll use my Snap Man. The question here is, what do I target with it? Because I can block Arcbound Ravager. Okay, they let me go to block, so I will block. Path to Exile still has flashback. Until end of turn, yeah. Okay, so now they will shoot down the Snapcaster Mage. And now that I'm blocked, I guess I'll just path my Snapcaster in response. What that'll do is it'll allow me to get the extra mana that I need to play Cryptic Command and then Supreme Verdict on the following turn. Oh no, what a mistake. I should have got a Plains. Ooh, I messed that up big time. Oh, goodness. Well, I at least get another turn with the Cryptic Command. Okay. Yikes. Opponent plays another land. Okay, rest in peace. I'm fairly certain I just let that resolve. I don't think I care that much. I've already used a Snapcaster Mage. I think I'm more concerned about the Giriper Aether Grid. So I'm going to let my opponent go to combat, and then I'm going to tap down the creatures and bounce that. My opponent's already played a land. So they won't be able to replay this, and then next turn I can negate it or logic knot it or whatever. Probably behoove my opponent to go ahead and exercise it to deal 2 damage to me. But then again, I'm not my opponent. Ooh, I guess I do need to draw another land here in order to use that play I just mentioned of Supreme Verdict and then negate for the Aether Grid. Oh, my opponent failed to use it a second time. I think they thought they could replay it if they left the Ornithopter untapped. Okay, we're still in combat. Arcbound Ravagers coming in. Only to be gobbled up by a Supreme Verdict. We did not get another land. We did get a Supreme Verdict. Yeah, my opponent, again, making another mistake. Well, maybe not. I take that back. What you do is, with the Arcbound Ravager abilities on the stack, you activate Blinkmoth Nexus and you move the counters to it. So yeah, I'm not in good shape to win this match by any means. Path to Exile is a fairly nice draw here. I'm going to be taking 2 damage. I'm sorry, 1 damage. So I expect my opponent to animate some number of these lands, and I will path the one that gets the plating. Cranial plating on its way. I'll go ahead and let him tap the Blinkmoth Nexus since it is an artifact. It actually saves me a point of damage, I think. Aether Grid to deal a damage. Mox Opal's the next card, so it's another damage here. Electrolyze. We still need a way to deal with this Aether Grid. is quickly becoming a lethal threat. Actually, I think it is lethal, right? Taking another one here. That's one, two. Yeah, if my opponent can produce another artifact, it's lethal. Okay. Signal pest is a thing, for sure. So this is the correct play, actually activating Blink Moth in the beginning of combat phase. A lot of people do make that mistake. So of course I'm going to let my opponent turn their artifact sideways. I will shoot them down. Logic Knot's not going to do it. I really need a Cryptic Command to handle the Aether Grid. That won't do it either. Yeah, I'm going to discard Snapcaster Mage. He doesn't do it for me. And there's an Electrolyze. Fairly certain that's it. I'm going to give it to my opponent. Let them figure it out for themselves. They've used up quite a large bit of their clock here. Now they figure it out. And again, playing for the clock. I will Electrolyze this in response, only because I can. And there she is. All right. So a pretty hard fought game 2 there. Let's see if we can pull it out this time. I like Ruined Halo now for the dealing with the Aether Grid. Yeah, I think Negate is the weakest card we've got. Path is actually really good. And I'll cut a Snapcaster Mage since they are really privy to Rest in Peace. Don't have a problem with that. Yes, I would love to play first. This hand looks like it's got everything we need. Alright, on the play here, I am afforded just a little bit of time to get my game plan together. And that gives me a huge advantage. Signal Pest, and that's it. So a nice and slow start for my opponent. Sort of thing I'd like to see. More creature lands. They don't work in my favor. I can't Supreme Verdict them away. No third artifact for my opponent's Mox Opal there. They've only got 2 mana, and they're going to end the turn. Very interesting sequencing. Path to Exile is a hell of a draw. Again, I'm just going to keep fetching basics because I have a grip full of dual lands. I don't see any need to really go any further. Etch Champion, that is the third artifact. Metalcraft is now active. However, if I could get a lightning bolt or something to handle this signal pest, I could path it. That would be quite a blowout, I think. Nope, I didn't get that. Suppose that's fine. Yeah, I don't feel any pressure here, so I'm just going to keep holding on to what I'm doing. Yeah, I'm not so much worried about 3 damage here. Path to Exile is a free roll spell now, because my opponent drew their basic. Cranial plating. I'm very surprised to see that come out now. I don't know why that wasn't played before combat. And there's a rest in peace. So in response to that, I will fetch and think twice. Logic knots the draw. Opponent's got something else in response to rest in peace. Seems like my opponent could spend some time getting a little more used to the Magic Online interface. And they're going to go ahead and equip up. Kind of forces my hand to use the Supreme Verdict now. Ooh, a Johnny Vengeance. It probably should have fetched a basic planes with that last one. Another Edge Champion. Wow. My opponent has got it all. Okay, they can equip up the Nexus with a cranial plating and really go to work here. Now I'm just in a bit of trouble. Yep, just a bit. I'm going to use this Serum Visions. We get Serum Visions, Serum Visions. I think I can afford to keep one of those. We'll tap that in. And I'm going to pass the turn. I'm not in great shape, but I can at least path to exile. Oh, Thoughtseize. Yeah, I think that wins it for my opponent. No, I can logic knot that, huh? I can't because I don't have anything to delve. Ooh, boy. Sphinx's Revelation doesn't do it. I can make them pay one more. Does that do anything? I don't think it does. Yep, they pay the requisite 1. Okay. Do your worst. Of course, they take Path to Exile here, and then I lose. Yep. Good draw, opponent. GG's. Of course, they have to click on Path to Exile to get the GG's. So there you go. This Jeskai deck is usually fairly strong against these sort of affinity decks. Oh man, if I known my opponent was going to do that, I could have just revved out of it, huh? But there, we failed to eliminate all of our opponent's threats. Edge Champion, of course, is a hard to deal with threat. We had the tools to do it, and we just couldn't. Thank you for watching. Hopefully we'll win the next one, and hopefully I'll see you there as well.